The Dental Brief is brought to you by Omni Premier Marketing and the amazing guests who bring wisdom and advice that you can put to use to take your business and practices to the next level. Find us on Facebook and join the conversation. Get ready to grow because we are kicking off the next episode in 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Dental Brief. So excited to have our guest back on the show today. He's the top of the line, the head honcho at All Star Dental. So I'm sure many of you have heard of him and have heard of All Star Dental, but Alex Nottingham, say hello to everyone.
Hello, everybody. Well, actually, it's a little bit of a trick, magic, because I wasn't on your show. You are on my show.
That's right. This is the first time I've had multiple members of
you
your
have
team.
all my team, but now you get the CEO. So
that's right. I knew we did a podcast together. I remember that being your podcast right now. It's fantastic. Thanks for having me.
And for your listeners, make sure you listen to my interview of you on our podcast. It was great.
I made my entire family watch it on YouTube on the television.
I enjoyed it.
We were looking for something on YouTube. It popped up. Next thing you know, my family's deeply in love with both of us. So
absolutely.
I'm grateful to have you here. I'm always grateful for your team members spending the time with our audience. Every episode is fantastic. I'm sure today's is going to be today as well. Let's just jump right into it.
Sure.
I do want our audience to check out your prior episodes. They want to learn about you. You've got a long history in dental. You've been in the trenches. You know, you've got the M.B.A. You've got the law degree. I mean, you've really armed yourself to really help dentists across the country, and I thank you for that.
Well, so my story is, you're probably thinking, okay, you have the JD MBA, why dental? Why dentistry, right? You know that story, Patrick? Yeah. I never told you, but my father's a dentist. And so he always told me when I was growing up, don't be a dentist, because the same factors or issues that dentists are facing now, he started to see: corporate dentistry, insurance. And he's like, the people that are making money are the business people. He said, go get a law degree or MBA. Don't be a dentist. So I did. And I worked for Tony Robbins. I was one of his top business coaches for many years. I got to meet the guy. He definitely has big hands, very intense, but he sticks to his vision and mission. He's fun. And so I was doing these things, and I was growing my consulting business to general business. And my father's dental practice was facing bankruptcy. And so I offered to help. And I didn't have experience in dental. So I went in and helped him. I brought my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, a former Bloomingdale's trainer, a sales manager for Theory and Kate Spade. And we took a $1 million practice and brought it to $2.4 million within 18 months, using business skills, systems, marketing, phone skills. And I know you, as a marketing guru, one of the first steps I did was improve the SEO, the visible presence of the website, but they weren't converting phone calls. And we were able to, that was a big difference in customer service. And so it was just such an enjoyable experience. I love my dad. He's my hero. And I made this assumption that all dentists were kind people that got taken advantage of. And I said, let me see if I can help other people. And my naive assumption that dentists most of them are alike, was true. They're engineer-like. They want to help people make a good living. And since then, we've been partners with the Academy of General Dentistry, the American Academy of Cosmetic Dentistry. So we have a very large reach. And I also want to, because especially for you, because you interview a lot of our coaches, but our president of coaching, Eric Vickery, and so many others in our team, it's just a great collective. It's just a great team. And that's how we've been able to help so many people.
Yeah, you mentioned what I do, and I'm going to use that as an opportunity to talk about why we have All Star Dental on the podcast. There's other coaches and consultants that we have too, but one of the main reason why we have All Star Dental on our podcast is, one, you have great resource where for a monthly fee, you can get all sorts of training that are going to help you make raving fans from patients and patients who, if not taken care of properly, would be patients somewhere else. So that's the number one reason why we have you on, is that you can really help take what we do, which is send traffic to dental offices, and you can actually help them take and convert that into dollar signs, actual patients in seats inside the office. So I just want to clear that up, make people understand that's the number one reason why you guys are here.
Yeah, and the feelings are mutual towards you. I mean, it's very rare for a business builder, marketing guru like you and your company to really invest in the outside resources to look at the whole picture, and you do straight away. And so it's just a joy to work with you.
Yep, appreciate that very much. So I want to jump into what you guys have been tackling a lot for practices and what you've been helping them with. I think I heard you use the word 3 killers inside of
The
a dental
3
practice.
silent killers, yeah.
Yep,
And
3
so
silent killers.
I'll run through this quick because both of us get right to it. You're DI in the disc, right? Did we discuss that? I think so. I think
You
we're
know
very
what? It just depends on what assistant I can
what
keep
day
it
it
me.
is. So I'm going to give you very quickly, I know it's a shorter podcast, the 3 silent killers. And I'll also give you a link to a webinar I do called allstardentalacademy.com/webinar, okay, or free-training. And so what that is I go into this in much greater detail. But there are 3 silent killers, and we were talking about it earlier, that we know that dentistry is profitable. But here's the thing. Others know the secret that dentistry is also profitable, and that's corporate dentistry. That's insurance companies. And in addition to that, we're seeing costs going up. We're seeing that wages are going up. Everything's going up, and dentists are being squeezed. And you would think, okay, well, that's the problem. It's these external threats. But in reality, it's not that when you really look deep. The 3 silent killers are phone call conversion failures, okay, broken appointments, not handling them well, and turnover and lack of team performance, which is kind of a combo issue. So I'm going to go through them quickly and then jump in if you have any questions or you want to go forward. But like we said, I'm not going to cover all of it in great detail. So I'm sure you can put in the show notes the webinar where they can get all of this in detail. So let's do some math. I know you like the math. So phone call conversion. Now, what we find in the average office, they're missing 87 phone call conversions a month, but I'm not even going to go there. Let's assume they just miss 1 per working day, 4 working days per week. That's 16 missed calls per month. Okay. Now, the average first year value of a patient, according to the ADA, is $642. And that's low. That statistic's like a few years old. So with inflation, it's probably more. But let's go easy on the listeners. If you multiply 16 times 642, you get $10,000 a month. You follow me? So just missing a phone call, whether you not, maybe even if you answer it, not just forgetting, just not even picking up the phone, but if you don't convert it, you don't build enough rapport, that's $10,000 per month, $120,000 per year. And then it gets worse. The LTV, or lifetime value of a patient, is about 10 years. 10 years times 120,000 is 1.2 million in lifetime missed opportunities you're never going to see. So when you're looking to build wealth in a dental business and you're not taking a look at phone call conversion, you're in big trouble. That's your retirement right there. 1 year, 1 day, a working day, you improve those call conversions, that's your retirement. Or a big part of it as it accumulates and grows.
Right. So, and let me interrupt you real quick,
yeah,
Alex.
absolutely.
One thing
interrupt away.
I always do is look at multipliers when we talk about this. I had someone on the program a long time ago that says a dentist over their lifetime pays $1 million more in taxes than they need to.
Right.
$1 million. And you're talking about $1 million here on one call. It's actually a lot more than that, because if you miss out on that one patient, you also missed out on the referral sources from that patient. I have a dentist who's getting ready to retire, a client of ours, and she basically says she gets 5 new patients. She calculates the value of a patient, $350 for their first visit times 5, because that's how many referrals she's going to get out of that patient during their time together. Not that individual appointment, but during their relationship, 10, 15 years of that patient being a patient in that practice. So there's a huge multiplier here, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Huge, enormous. And then, so again, we can go into it even further, but then, okay, what's the solution? And so we built this process called the Great Call process. It's an acronym of how we answer the phone. GREAT. Right. Greeting, got to build rapport, then you engage the patient, then you ask for the appointment, then you take information. And so the webinar I'm talking to you about, I'll send you the link for your listeners. I go into great detail about that. The problem is, just kind of in a nutshell, is what happens typically when we answer the phone and somebody's asking for price. We either give them the answer right away, or we don't give them and they get frustrated. We will eventually answer their question, but we have to build rapport. We don't want to be commoditized. And so when you take the care to get to know people, because people that know you, trust you, and like you will work with you, that is the ticket to improved call conversion and people that will refer, essentially. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, it makes total sense. 100%.
So that's phone call conversions. Yeah. The next silent case, I knew we were. I know how you think. Broken appointments is the next one. So let's just do some math. We like our math here. So two doctor broken appointments in a week, 4 weeks per month at $500 an hour, which is a minimum. Some of you doing 1,000 to 2,000. That's 4,000 a month. Hygiene, 8 hygiene broken appointments per week, 4 weeks per month, $100 an hour hygiene at least, $3,200. Add them together, $7,200. Multiply that by 12, $90,000 right there on broken appointments, plus the multipliers that you talked about. So we're just getting creamed on these pretty obvious processes. Now, here's a quick and easy solution. Now in the webinar, I give you verbiage, but understand this. Don't punish for broken appointments. Teach. It's a teachable moment. But also don't let people off the hook whereby they don't know the significance of the broken appointment. So it's, again, this is nuance. It takes training. I know you and Eric are doing a program next year with training to address some of these things. So big problem.
So I'm going to interrupt you there, Alex. I got to go to your Mastery 1 session 4 weeks ago, I believe it was, in Portland, Maine. And, I've been around sales training for a long time, phone training for a long time. And we're talking almost 30 years. I've been around dental for a long time. And I've actually consulted a lot of people on their cancellation policy. And I walked away. There was a moment during that Mastery session where I thought, man, I've been coaching this wrong. I've been talking about this wrong. I've been just an idiot. I mean, when it comes right down to it.
No, you're too.
It's the truth because why would you have, and you guys bring this up, why would you have a cancellation policy? Why would you do that? Why would you try to train people that it's okay to cancel their appointments? It makes no sense whatsoever. And I'm going to let you get into the details on that. Maybe the web reach out to you guys as far as training on how to get away from having a cancellation policy and having more shows. But blown away in 27 years, right? I mean, I picked it up like that, and I'm like, it's a game changer.
It's amazing these nuances when we think we know. And so you're different because you're a marketer. You're a high level. You've been exposed to it. A lot of dentists aren't. And so you picked up on it. Imagine what they're missing. And so there's a couple ways you can do it. You go to allstardentalacademy.com and you can certainly learn more about, I talked about /webinar, the webinar talk about broken appointments. There's the event page where we have the events like you're talking about, where we're teaching you how to achieve that. And then I'll talk about the next issue in a moment. But it's just that one thing that you can pick up that can be quite massive and improving that broken appointment policy. So no, great work with respect to that.
And I'll tell you too, I see this and people see this themselves now. It's pretty common when you make a restaurant reservation that you get a response, you get a text from the restaurant the day before, and that text is reply yes to confirm the reservation and no to cancel the reservation. And if you think about that reservation is the restaurant is telling you, hey, it's okay to cancel. Now, in a restaurant, in a good restaurant, they have no problems filling cancellations.
Sure.
But that's not the case in a dental practice. If you go to a busy restaurant here in Denver that everyone likes, and somebody shows their 7 p.m. reservation, they have 5 people waiting for that table. It's not a big deal, but there's not 5 people waiting outside your dental practice for a cancellation.
Well, Larry Gazzardo, our head instructor, said that if you want to really punish somebody, have them try to fill a broken appointment in a dental office.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very difficult. And no, you're right. We don't want to put it out there. Hey, you can cancel. We don't want to make it easy. So I discussed in the webinar as well the things you don't want to do, and you are alluding to one of them. But you also don't want to threaten them and all that. There's a process that we can teach them. Listen, not that we have that problem, but some people have hairdressers, right? And so when you go to the hairdresser, you won't break appointments there because you feel bad for them, like they have a living. But dentists, they're, but remember, you have dentists and hygienists, you have people's whole livelihoods are dependent on you showing up and they want to see you. So, it's kind of a very slight guilt, but you'll learn about it on
Yeah.
the webinar. So let me get to the
There's
next
a
one.
non
Yeah, go ahead.
there's a non-direct financial multiplier when it comes to broken appointments too.
Tell
It
me.
busts up morale. If it can change the day, if it's the last
That's a
appointment
good
of the day,
point. That's a
if
great
it's the
point.
first appointment of the day, it's awkward for the patient, even though they're the ones that tried to cancel the appointment or did cancel the appointment. It's now awkward for them to the point where they may actually not want to come back because they feel so guilty about canceling the appointment and wrong last minute, and they end up going somewhere else just because they don't want to have that awkward conversation that can be avoided altogether using the foundation and processes that All Star has laid out. So you got to check this out.
Well, you made a great point that also reminded me of something. One of the worst things you can have at a dental office is a doctor who's not busy.
Yeah.
They cause damage. They're unhappy. They're
Right.
getting into things. Like my father, when he wasn't busy, he would bother Heather. And she's like, no, go back and do something. Doctors like to be
Right.
busy. They don't know what to do with themselves when they're not doing something. And you're right, it totally messes up morale and it's chaos. And we didn't even mention you're also paying the hygiene assistants, your entire office to operate when nobody's there. And
Right.
so we
That's
didn't,
right.
again, I'm trying to go easy on people. Patrick, you're a little too tough here. I'm trying to go easy on the numbers, but
Sure.
it goes really nuts when you see what happens. So great points,
Well,
Patrick.
yeah, and I know you see this too. You know the industry as well as anyone does. I see from guests, I just start to see, phone calls missing out, cancellations missing out, taxes missing out, the proper accounting missing out, so on and so forth, and billing, insurance, all these things. And it's like, you could really 10 times your income as a dentist, your net income, by just making sure that you get everything right in your practice. So I get a little fired up about it because these things, I just see them add up. I mean, it's just, it blows my mind.
They're low hanging fruit. Like this is just stupid
Yeah.
that you're not working on it. But you have
Yeah.
to learn there's fear about working with the team and we help to support that and make, our program is not sales training. People love that. It's rapport building. We're anti-sales
Right.
training. And so we find a way because dentists, one of their biggest fears is dealing with the team. We make a way where it's very comfortable to work with your team. However, you are going to have to confront them and do some work and have some demand of a standard. So if we have a little
Sure.
backbone and a little support, we can get it done. But it's not going to be
Right.
just, I just sit there and then inertia takes my practice where it needs to go. No, you got to put effort into it. And that kind of goes
Yeah.
to the next point, the final silent killer, Patrick, which is declining team performance. Because what happens
Mhm.
is when you have declining team performance, it will lead to turnover. Either you're going to let somebody go or they're going to leave. And combine that with the market now with the silent quitting, whereby people are just not producing. They just try to stay the minimum, before you fire them.
Right.
The
Right.
great resignation is an issue. And that's why we have a hiring service, All Star Hiring, to help practices hire. We do it all for them, right to the live interview you do. We do everything else. So that's a big issue. Now, in terms of the cost, and I'll give you the link for that as well. In terms of the
Yeah.
cost of an employee, I like to stand when we look at the numbers, and this is not just me, this is Ben Erickson and other HR firms. And Ben Erickson is one of our partners, one of the top HR firms in dentistry. And they found that the cost of replacing an employee is about 100%, at least, if not up to 150% of the cost of the employee. And it's not the hiring
Mhm.
service that's very expensive. That's a cheap thing to actually invest to help
Right.
hire. It's the lack of production, the team morale hit, the inefficiencies and mistakes, all that's happening, and potential lawsuits that you may have incurred by not hiring or firing properly. All that leads to
Right.
the cost of the employee. So if you have an entry level employee, $30,000 or $40,000, boom, done. You just got that hit right there in terms of cost of
Right.
affecting your business.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
That's crazy.
And,
Oh,
yeah,
totally makes sense.
and that's why I say they're silent killers, because they're
Right.
stealing money from your practice and you're not aware of them. You like to blame the
Right.
finger, oh, the corporate dentistry and this and that. And look, there's some good ones, some bad ones, but I say one of the secrets against corporate, which again, I'm not saying I'm against them per se. I'm against the ones that provide crappy service, but one of the things that when you're a solo practitioner or you're a small DSO, you can make changes very quickly to the market. You might hear this podcast and hear what we're talking about. Okay, I'm changing right away. We're doing this, 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 and this. You can do that. Corporate can't because they're squeezed by shareholders who want profit right away. They're bureaucratic, like the government, see how well we enforce things. So that's one of the advantages you have. Now, with respect to this issue of turnover, here's some things to consider. And I talk about this in the webinar, but I'll give you three quick tips, okay? One, find out and work hard to keep who you currently have. And what that means is you're going to be onboarding. Whenever you have somebody new, it's 90 days of training. The Ritz-Carlton will not allow somebody to touch the phone without 90 days of phone training. And now what I just told you, you think you want to put a brand new employee on the phone, what I just taught you? They're just going to start losing you money. They better be trained. Heather was shocked when I took her out of Bloomingdale's and I put her into my dad's office. She's like, what is this? There's no training. You guys are all over the place. Dentists can basically slip and fall and be all over the place and still make money in dentistry. It's crazy. That's why corporate wants in, because they're like, listen, I can do it better than you. But you guys have to wake up, because it doesn't mean don't be afraid, but you have to do some investments in business training. You have to try when it comes to that. And if you don't like it, we and others can help you, and Patrick can help you shore that up. The other thing after onboarding is comprehensive training. You got to be providing training little by little. We recommend 20 minutes a week over time. And lastly, you have to provide feedback and coaching when it comes to your team. Now, we provide coaching, which is nice. A lot of the best businesses use coaching. But even if you are working with an outside coach, you still got to provide ongoing feedback. And I love our director of our hiring service, Robin Reese. She said, don't focus so much on exit interviews. Focus on stay interviews, which is we meet, we say, let's say you're one of my employees, Patrick. Patrick, how are you doing? How's life? You know, and not just business. I was like, here's your review, Patrick. You know, you did good. You know, you did the broken appointments very well, Patrick. Check. No, it's like, how's life? Are you enjoying the office? How are you getting along? Any ideas? You want to recruit them, which means to make them part of your cause, not just hire them.
Right. Yep.
Does that make sense?
Got to invest emotionally, I think, in them. Yeah. A multiplier that I see in failed employees, and it shouldn't really be called failed employees, it should be called failed employers, employees. But in that situation is, again, it's a big morale hit when you lose an employee. It's a morale hit to the rest of the team, right? It's a morale hit to the person who hired them, right? Did they make a bad hire? That's how I look at every single employee that I've hired that hasn't worked out, that I either made a bad hire, and that's a criticism of me, or I didn't do a good enough job making sure they had the tools that they needed to be successful. And so it's a bit of a morale hit that can be fixed, right? If you do it over and over and over again while you're just a terrible leader and you don't care about getting better, it's going to happen. However, this is something that you can certainly change and get really, really good at. So again, All-Star is here to help with that as well.
Yeah. So those are our silent killers. And those are some of the solutions. I mentioned the webinar link. I'll provide it to you. Also, our podcast. I have a little logo up there, or over which way? This way. Somewhere on the screen. But we're on podcast, Spotify, YouTube, just like you guys.
Yep. So we'll make sure that we put those links everywhere. Check out the webinar. It's you have to check it out. I mean, it's just, make sure you jump on it. It's great information. You can put it to use today. You can take it to the next level by reaching out to All-Star. The website's All-Star Dental Academy. Monthly training is fantastic. It's probably the best value in any training I've ever seen. So make sure to check that out.
Yeah, I remember we were in a meeting the other day, and Heather wasn't there. She's our VP of Training and Partnerships. And you were like, you know what? You should promote that online training some more. That's a great deal. And I said, everybody laughed and says, Patrick, he says, Heather's smiling right now. She's like, you two are best friends, because, you see what she's talking about. It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, it is a no-brainer. Yep. So Alex Nottingham, allstardentalacademy.com. Thanks so much for being here, Alex. We appreciate you.
You're welcome. Thanks for having us.